Okay, so the last several weeks we've been talking about giving. And I know that you like to hear your preacher talk about giving just about as much as you'd like to hear me talk about the birds and the bees, or to talk about politics, right? And yet, it shows up in the Bible almost more than anything else. Money, giving, all of that kind of stuff is there. But sometimes we like to hedge our bets. Sometimes we make excuses. Sometimes we use money as a bit of a tool, maybe a little bit like these folks.
I give to God by enjoying what He has given me. Okay? I mean, you really think He expects something back? Now, I know there's a lot of people at church that would not understand this line of reasoning. That's why, just to make things simple and not to cause any controversy, I like to carry what I call the little empty envelope, all right? You see, when the plate gets passed, I put it in there like that. The deacon's counting the money. They only know me as the crazy empty envelope guy, but the people sitting around me are clueless. I win, they win, God wins. No one gets hurt because no one knows. God knows. Huh?
I only agreed to make this video if they promise not to tell you who I am. I mean, it's really none of your business. And it's also none of your business how much I give. I'm not going to brag about it, okay? I mean, yeah, it's cool. I just got married and I have a kid, okay? And sure, we get around. We're doing okay. But look, who I am and what I give it's between God and I, okay? I mean, the sacrifices I make are between me and God, and my reward is in heaven. So look, don't try to figure out who I am or what I give, because honestly,
it's none of your business.
I tithe. Okay, that's a lie. I don't tithe. I want to tithe. That's a lie too. I don't even think about it. Seriously, you think God's up there like with a big old checklist going, hey, you tithe, you don't tithe? I don't buy that at all. Okay, I kind of buy that. Because what they say, give to God what's God's and give to Caesar what is Caesar's. I don't even know any Caesars. That's a lie. No 4 Caesars, even a little one.
Let me ask you a question, huh? How's your mutual fund? For that matter, how's all your funds? Has the fund left your funds, huh? Has your do-re-mi taken a W-A-L-K, huh? What if I told you that I knew about an investment you could make, that the return would be mind-boggling? And it's promised, it's guaranteed. I know what you're saying, there's no guarantees. This one's guaranteed, okay? Malachi 3:10. So it says in the Old Testament, it says, test me, give to God, and He will give you back. It goes like this. I give this, He gives this. I give this, He gives this. I give this. Right up there, He keeps giving. I can't outgive God. How crazy is that? Do I love Him? Sure, whatever. I'm just saying, if you give, He gives back. Crazy, isn't it? It works, though. How do you think I afforded that house in Tahiti? What time is it? It's tithing time.
I tithe. But just not like in the form of a 10% check per se. Let me tell you what I mean. When I go to church on a Sunday morning, they're selling donuts, I buy some. Boom, that's a tithe. When my whole Sunday school class wants donuts, and I, out of the goodness of my heart, buy a whole bunch for the Sunday school class, boom, that's another tithe. But it's not about me spending money. It's about the smile on people's faces. That, my friends, is tithe enough for me. Case in point, the church was having date nights where we could take our spouse out for an evening, and they were charging $25 for child care. Boom, shakalaka tithe. I'll tell you what the biggest tithe is. I spent over $100 on our meal, and my wife was grinning ear to ear. That, my friends, a tithe.
I would like to give. I would, okay? But everything right now is just crazy. I mean, just crazy, I mean, not normal crazy, really crazy, And if after I paid my bills and took care of the things that I need and want, then I would consider giving something. But not now is crazy. We're going to give later. We've already talked about it. I mean, down the road we'll be crazy givers, but right now it's just crazy.
Yeah, I have money, that's a fact. But you know what? It's a hard thing between me and the Lord and the pastor, because he needs to know what I'm giving now that we have this little building campaign going on, if you know what I'm saying. And pastor, I'd give a little bit more. I'd give a little something if you'd have that music minister sing a couple more hymns now and then, huh? Hey, watch this, watch this.
Is that a Benjamin? I think it is. Benji likes hymns. Come on, you want it? Come on, Pastor, do what I say, huh?
Oh, in my life, Lord, be glorified in me. I put money in the plate. Wait, wait, wait. Look what I have here. Hope doesn't interfere. That everyone can hear how I give with cheer. That everyone could be like me. Jazz hands.
I sure hope I haven't given anybody any ideas. Or that we are shallow givers or manipulative givers. Now last week I opened up a can of Baptist on you, didn't I? I went there. I talked to you about going to hear John Gilchrist, the evangelist, preach, and he preached about money. And my Methodist back started bowing up until I began to realize that what the guy was saying was biblical truth. He said, get out of ownership, get into management. We don't own anything. We don't own anything. God is the owner of everything. We're the stewards. We're the stewards of the great creation that God has given us. The tithe is a 10% reminder that everything we have belongs to God. And then he says something that may sound like prosperity gospel. Give to get, to give, to get, to give, to get, to give, to get. It sounds like prosperity gospel, but the fact is, this is spiritual discipline. This is the way things work. It's spiritual breathing. We inhale, we exhale. We breathe in the oxygen that is created by the trees. We breathe out carbon dioxide that they breathe. It's a cycle. But Truett Cathy, have you all ever heard of Truett Cathy? Truett Cathy was the founder of Chick-fil-A. He was a good Methodist boy, very devout. Chick-fil-A, you can find them in a lot of major cities. In fact, after church today, what I'd like to do is invite all of you to be my guests at Chick-fil-A. Who would like to go with me to Chick-fil-A? Anybody? Have any takers? Want to go with me to Chick-fil-A? Anybody? I got a few. All right, who wants to go with me? You're shaking your heads. Why are you shaking your heads? They're not open on Sunday. You mean I can't take you to Chick-fil-A? That's right, because he is a devout Christian. And he believes that his employees should have the opportunity to go to church, that that day should be hallowed. But because of his biblical principles, he has applied those to his business life as well. He's given away millions of dollars, but he turns this formula around. He says, we don't give to get. We get to give. Giving is a privilege to share in the work of God. It is a joy. There's someone in the New Testament that figured that out as well. His name was Yosef, or Yosef. He was a Jew from Cyprus who was in Jerusalem around the time that all that nuttiness, all that craziness kind of erupted. Y'all may have heard about that. That these nuts were going around saying to the authorities, to the priests and the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees, you crucified the Messiah. Now that's not exactly what I would call politically correct. They were not only saying, you crucified the Messiah, but he rose to life again. We saw him. We have spoken to him. And this little movement exploded. The Holy Spirit came on the day of Pentecost, and this movement took off. Went from 125 to 3,000 to 5,000 as people began to hear this thing. But in spite of how well they were doing, it was also a time of trouble because, you know, when you start accusing people of murder, they get a little bit upset. And the priests and the Sanhedrin and the Pharisees were all kind of going, we did what? And so they started arresting these people, Peter and John, beating them up. So it was a difficult time in the early church. Here's what Yosef did. He went and sold a piece of his property. Actually, I think he sold all of it, according to the book of Acts, and laid the proceeds at the feet of the disciples. Now you might say, well, yeah, I could do that. You know, I could sell some of my land, you know, get a little tax deduction. There was no tax deduction involved here. You need to understand that for a Jew to sell his property, to sell land in the Holy Land, in the land of promise, he was giving up his heritage. Ladies, it would be like you. You love your wife, you love your husbands, right? I hope. I didn't hear a yes. I think that was a moment of truth, guys. I think you got some work to do. But it would be like you selling your wedding ring, your engagement ring. This was their heritage. This told them who they were. And yet, Joseph sold this land and laid the proceeds at the feet of the disciples. What he was saying to them was, you're my family now. I'm one of you. They were so inspired by what he did that they gave him a new nickname, Barnabas, the son of encouragement. You know, when I read the scriptures, a lot of times I read it kind of weirdly, I guess. I ask questions of the Bible. I know the Bible asks questions of me all the time, and so I ask, what would happen if certain things had not happened? For example, what if Mary had said no? What if Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane had said, no, I think I'm going to go take a powder? What if there had been no Barnabases? What if there had been no one to share what they had, to sell their goods and to give to the work of the church? What would have happened? You know what Jesus told the disciples. He said, you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in Judea and in Samaria and to the ends of the earth. What if no one had provided for them financially? Would Peter have had to have gone back to fishing? Would Thomas have had to have gone back to carpentry? Would Matthew have had to have gone back to accounting? Would they have had the time to do the ministry that God was calling them to? But then there's another what-if question that I ask myself. What if there had never been a church? What if the gospel had never spread? The late James Kennedy wrote a book called What If Jesus Had Never Been Born? And he has a list of the difference, the things that the church has done. Now ask yourself, what if there had never been any church? Now some of you might be saying, well, I could sleep in on Sunday morning, preacher. Not necessarily. There wouldn't be a Sabbath, right? No day off. Some people might say, well, there wouldn't have been crusades. There would not have been an Inquisition. There would not have been Salem witch trials. Touche. You got a point. But just because some misguided people have misinterpreted and misrepresented the cause of Christ does not mean that the gospel of Jesus Christ isn't true. Look at the difference that the church has made.